To our fourth Climate Supper. What is a Climate Supper? It's part of the Food and Climate Shaper digital bootcamps, what is co-organized by the Future Food Institute and the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. As I mentioned, this is the fourth edition. It's always on the third Saturday of the 4-week hybrid program, where we host very diverse group of individuals coming from all over the world who would like to take action towards fighting climate change. And how? Through food. So today we will have 3 2-hour live sessions broadcasting from every participant's dining table. So we welcome you to join and stay with us. You find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and you will basically travel through the world and visit dining experiences, which will have very conscious conversations about our food system. And why this session is very special, because this time we have also one of our partners joining us, the SDG to Advocacy Hub and the Chef's Manifesto. And I would like to ask Paul Newnham to come on board with me and tell us why is this collaboration so important and what is happening today.
Thank you. It's so great to be with you. And it's so great that we can collaborate together on this climate supper and really go around the world. It's 2 things that we absolutely love at the Chef's Manifesto and the SDG2 Hub is bringing people together around food from different parts of the world. And it's really great to partner with Future Food Institute in this boot camp, and also the Climate Supper in just bringing students in from so many different parts of the world, including a number of chefs from the Chef's Manifesto network, and to be able to then also particularly partner on this this Climate Supper. Why is it important? Because we're all working on how we can drive forward change around the Sustainable Development Goals and the Agenda 2030. And it's really important that we understand the connections between climate and food. And at the Chef's Manifesto is a framework that ties the SDGs to the work of chefs. It was designed by chefs for chefs, and it's so great to see that you're going to feature a number of chefs from the network from different parts of the world throughout the next day, I guess. It's quite a time. So super excited to join you. Great to be in partnership and looking forward to seeing what's on people's tables as we take this tour around the world.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. So how we structured today, as you heard, we will feature multiple chefs from the Chef's Manifesto. 3 of them are actually participants of the bootcamp, and they become the squad leaders for these 3 different sessions, where we will actually feature 3 of the thematic areas of the Chef's Manifesto. So this specific session is around nutritious food that is accessible and affordable for all. And now I would like to hand over to Nick Omundo from Kenya, who is the very first chef, and will kick off this session together with my co-host today, who is also part of the Chef's Manifesto, Mogadi Itzveng. Thank you.
Hi everyone.
Hey. Hello everyone. Thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Chef Isweng. Thank you, Julia, and the amazing team at the Future Food Institute, FAO, and everyone else. So I'm really excited to be here. Really, it's been quite. We're living in interesting times, and so I'm just humbled to be part of the Future Food Institute and learning how myself and the boot camp and the climate shapers can just, how can we make our world better? What can I do as Nick, or you as Lauren, or you as Gian, to just kind of make, leave the world a better place than we found it? Because right now, there's literally lots of issues, be it around food or, health, and all these things kind of just tie in with, ideally the concept of food, when we eat good food, our bodies are nourished, the environment is healed. When we eat unsustainably, we are demanding too much of the environment that it takes longer for it to replenish or longer for it to produce all these things that we keep on demanding. And so it is very tough. It's very hectic, not only on the planet, but also because when you think about the issue of food systems, everything is quite connected, right? So when you think about it from that connectivity point of view, from that, nothing is divorced from the other. If I'm demanding of the environment something that is too much, best believes some other part of the environment is suffering in one way or another. So it is my prerogative to kind of find out what am I doing to, first of all, what wrong am I doing? How am I not being sustainable? Yeah. Then from that point of thinking, from that point of mindset, we ask, what then can I do? You know, what can I change? What can I tweak? And so in this first session, yeah, sorry, terrible eyes. So in this first session, I'm going to be talking about just slightly about the nutritious food that is accessible and affordable for all. And that is kind of the theme, well, the main theme that informed the dishes that I made. Because for me, it was first of all important that I do not get out of the house or more than a kilometer around me to look for the ingredients. Yeah, so everything that I'm going to present is either it's either stuff that I had in the house, so that I didn't need to buy too many things, and if I had to buy it, I literally walked no more than a kilometer. So that is really encouraging for me. But also it's because the way I lead a plan forward rather lifestyle. So well, you all know what that means without going too much into details. So I feel as though, you know, nutrition and food, that is literally one of the main ways we can begin to influence our lives positively, and by extension, influence those around us. So anyway, before I go too far, I'm here with my family because it's my birthday. Yeah, so if you can just wave.
Happy birthday! Hi. Hello, hello.
Yeah. So they're just waiting for a few food items to get ready, and then we're gonna start eating. So what is ready, to be honest, right now is what I'm able to put on what I'm able to present here, and it is, first of all, it is all of it is plant-based. No, I don't want to be high and mighty about it, but I feel good that I'm able to say that, and I'm able to create dishes that are delicious, are simple, because first of all, I'm lazy. Yeah, so when I get into the kitchen, I want to be in and out as fast as possible, but I do not want to sacrifice delicious food. I don't want to sacrifice nutrient density. Yeah, so based on those areas, or based around that thinking, I'm happy that I was able to create a dish that is nutritious, that is simple, didn't take too much time to cook, because for me, really, that is kind of one of the best things I can do for myself, and, you know, for my environment. Yeah. So let me just see. So I have. It's sorry. So 1 second. Yes. So it's a 3-course menu. So the starter is this. I don't know if you're able to see it. I'll post all the pictures better.
Okay. So what can we see on this plate?
Pardon me?
What can we see on this plate?
Can you see it?
What's on the plate?
Yeah. So what is here is the starter is a vegetable nugget. It is served with guacamole that is patched on the trimming of the guacamole itself. Yeah, and so and also there's a bit of sesame seeds on it. Yeah. So for me, this dish is representative of simplicity. It is representative of nutrient density. This is something that, because when you think about the theme nutritious food that is accessible, and affordable and available for all, my mind was like, so how can I create something simple, but also that is not sacrificing those tenets? So that is the first dish. The second dish is a mung bean curry. It is served with arrowroots and Maria, please wait, Maria. And it is served with arrowroots and a couple of sauces, a mint sauce and a mango sauce. Yeah, so this is again everything. I'll post all the pictures, so don't worry if you don't able to see it clearly. So that again is something to me that says, hey Nick, so you want to have lunch? How about you walk across the street? Or, and I'm fortunate to be living in this country because Kenya is historically and where we are right now, we are an agriculture country, you know. So we don't experience seasons as most of you across the world do. So that now in winter you can get some things, in autumn you can get some things. So most of the things really kind of grow throughout the year, you know, like in a sense, everything, you can find a few things without sacrificing too much at the same time. So that dish is something that I was able to create just slightly walking around my environment. But I already had the mung beans in my fridge. So the only thing I bought was the arrowroots, and I had mint as well. So I just made the mint sauce and the mung sauce. I had those as well.
So
this
the
is the dessert.
arrowroot.
This is pardon?
Hi, I'm asking about the arrowroot. Is that something that's indigenous there, or it's something that was flown in?
Well,
like,
yeah. So
or is it grown there?
yeah. So the Central Highlands of Kenya, traditionally is considered the bread basket, so to speak. But
Okay.
so arrowroots are plentiful in the central parts of Kenya. So if you think about Limuru or Nyeri or what have you, these are towns in Kenya. So
Nice.
arrowroot is very readily available. So that now, even if the arrowroot traveled too many kilometers away from me, it would not be, for me to find it, it would not be more than 15 kilometers for me to have found it where I found it from the lady I bought it from. Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know if I answered you, Chef Iswang.
No, you did. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I answered you, yeah? Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So again, this is my dessert. It's very, very simple. Just again, following my plant forward lifestyle. I do not want to have to think too much about what to make. So this is let me see the name of a tropical fruit starter. So there's pineapple, there's raspberries and blueberries. Again, these are grown in Kenya. And cashews, maybe cashews traveled quite a bit because they came from the coastal region of Kenya, that is some distance away. So those ones traveled quite some distance from the Mombasa side, because that is where cashews generally grow. And then there's a slice of caramelized orange in the middle. So yeah, again, but I'll post all the pictures. Yeah. So when I think about the dish, the meal that I've created, it didn't take too much time. It didn't cost me too much energy. But at the same time, I was able to create something that is delicious, nutrient dense, readily available, accessible, and I feel as though I lived the thematic area number 8 of the Chef's Manifesto. Thank you very much.
Thumbs up for that.
Thank you.
So, Nick, I have a one question before I let you enjoy your birthday lunch with your family. What do they think about this amazing? So what is your family saying about this amazing menu? Is that something, are these practices what they also practice in their own kitchen, or is that something what they still kind of learn from you?
Yes, so thank you for the question. So the thing is that in my family, to be honest, I'm the only one who's plant forward. But because I've been plant forward for about 2.5 years, maybe 3 years. And in that time, I've been trying to influence my family so that now even my mom she can have a meal without thinking about meat or fish, and she won't complain. My sisters, my brothers-in-law, my brother-in-law rather, he's also trying to adopt this kind of living, although it's very hard considering that somebody, I mean, I could be 33 years old, I could be 35 years old. If I've lived 90% of my life as not planned forward, it is very hard to transition. So unless you make that instant shift, it's going to be a bit tricky, it's going to be a bit taxing, but slowly, if you're kind with yourself and you try to see the importance so that now it comes from within and not something that is imposed around you, like you have to stop eating meat, you have to stop eating fish, you know. But generally, I've never had any complaints whenever I make dinners or lunches. They love my, I'd say they love my dishes.
That's amazing. All right, Nick,
Yeah.
happy birthday again. Enjoy your time with your family. And maybe you stay online and watch us on YouTube, how your squad is managing to do their dinners and lunches around this thematic area.
No, I will stay on until midnight, until the last person has done their presentation. Okay. So I'm looking forward to all of
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
you
you
so much. I'm happy.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
your meal. Bye-bye. So before we go on to the next lunch table in Kenya, I would like to ask Sarah, who just joined us from the Fisherman's Wharf, to say hi.
Ciao, Julia. I'm so glad to be with you. It's always amazing to follow this marathon around the kitchens around the world, the kitchens markets. Amazing people working behind the scene in the food system, trying to change things, really starting from the roots. And this is the most beautiful part of our journey. I'm broadcast of Mediterranean diet. I'm broadcasting from Polica, the capital of Mediterranean diet. And I'm here because we're working so much with fishermen. Sustainable fishing is one of the major challenges, and fishermen are really facing a strong period with climate change and issues related to their work. So here in Polica, we're working a lot with them and with the local community. But now I'm going to jump into our school where there are our students that are going to prepare a dish for all of you, remembering the pillars and the values of Mediterranean diet. And our dish is going to be inspired to plant-based, say, not only culture, but attitude. And also, we are going to work on something that is a recipe from the past connected to the future, because our recipe is going to take care about the topic of food waste. So I'm going to be back with our students in the next hours. Good luck for this marathon, and let's work together for a better food system. We're going to talk about what's good food for us. So I'm going to reconnect with you pretty soon. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. See you in a bit. Ciao, Sarah. Amazing. So Mogadi, we are traveling to the next Kenyan table, lunch table. I think we have already, well, not even table, it's a grill, if I'm looking at the picture right now. So Bernard, how are you?
Yes, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Hi,
Good.
Bernard.
What are you cooking?
Yeah, I'm cooking fish. As you can see, I'm cooking fish. And traditional vegetables, as you can see. The thing that I'm taking it out, yeah. So the fish is already on, and I'm continuing with the cooking. So how are you?
We are very well. We are all very
We're well.
excited.
Yeah, as soon as shall be ready. As you can see, the fish is already on. We are doing the preparation of the traditional foods called managu. Yeah, as you can see. So the onion is already on fire, and soon we'll be putting it on. Yeah, can I have it? Yeah, once the onion is ready. So the reason why I chose to cook fish and traditional managu, traditional vegetables, is because one, it is readily available. And secondly, it's nutritious, readily available, and anyone can be able to access such kind of vegetables, as you can see. These are the traditional vegetables. They are called managu. Normally used here in Kenya.
Okay.
Yes. So in the kitchen,
Nice.
I have my chef Fred, as you can see, over here. I'm cooking at a local hotel called Riverbank in Nanyuki in Kenya. So we are continuing with the cooking, and soon we shall be setting the table for you people to join us. Yes.
And what kind of fish are you cooking? What kind of fish are you cooking?
I'm cooking tilapia.
Tilapia.
That you get from the Lake Victoria. You get it from the Lake Victoria.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a local fish.
It's a local fish, readily available and transported to Nairobi, then to the allowed Mount Kenya. Yes.
Nice one.
So as you can see,
Bernard, Bernard, I have a question for you about those indigenous vegetables, what you showed us. And you said that they are not really consumed. So why is that? Why is it not so much consumed? Is it because people in Kenya got more familiar with westernized diets, or that's what they want to eat? Or what do you think is the reason that they don't consume the vegetable which is there and available?
Okay, sorry, allow me to correct. I think it's readily available. It grows naturally. Yeah, but now due to the climate change, we are having them becoming becoming extinct due to the climate change. But it is readily available. Anyone can do a kitchen garden and be able to harvest that kind of vegetables, as you can see. So they are readily available. Allow me to correct that.
Okay.
Yeah, as you can see, and see, we are setting the sauce. We are setting the sauce. Yeah, for the fish. So
what is in the sauce?
Yeah, this is the tomato
And what
paste.
do you normally?
Okay, come again. Come again. Sorry.
What's in the sauce?
Oh, we have onions, chili, and tomato, and the tomato. Yeah. Can you see that? Yeah. Tomato, chili, onions. Yeah, this is what we are preparing to accompany the fish.
So Bernard, who will you enjoy this delicious meal with? Who will be your dinner guests or lunch guests? Sorry.
Okay, you can see them. Allow me to show you my guests. Here they are, the guests. Yeah. Here she is, the owner of the hotel. She is over here. Yeah, hi. She's called Esther.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. Allow me to take you where we'll be setting our table. So you'll be setting over here. So this is where we'll be having our conversation. Can you sit down?
Yes.
So you'll be having our conversation with the guest over here. You can see her. Hi, Esther. So she's the owner of this hotel, the Riverbank Hotel. So she's the one who allowed us to be here to set the table, to cook the fish. So she normally provides for me the fish every Friday. So that's why we said we come over here to get the fish. Yes.
Very nice.
So probably you have any question for Esther?
Yes. So Esther, how as a hotel owner, how was it for you, especially over the past 1.5 years with procurement? So how did you see, was it more difficult for you to source nutritious ingredients? Did something change over the past 1-2 years?
For the last 1.5 years, business has not been very kind to us since we had to close the industry from March to sometime back September last year. We reopened again, but again, we didn't have so many of the guests because of the fear of COVID-19.
Yeah. So, but you are now open again.
We've opened again, and few stepping in. Like Matu is one of our dear guests. He's always here on Friday to have managu fish and ugali. He's one of our dear guests who loves doing tilapia.
Amazing.
And what do you serve it with?
Yes.
What do you normally serve it with?
It depends on what one wants. There are those who want to do it with roast potatoes, others who want to do it rice with some salt, ugali, whatever you wish done, that's what you're given.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, we head back to the
Kitchen.
Okay,
Yes,
come
I
again.
feel that
Yes, to the kitchen, eh?
fish needs your attention. And I don't
Okay.
want to,
Yes.
to slow down the preparation. So, Bernard,
You see
thank
our
you so
preparation?
much. Yes.
Yeah. So these are one of the things that we normally have in the kitchen. You can see the chili. Yeah, that's the chili. So this is the chili. Yeah. These are the garlic. These are the lemons. Now we head back to the kitchen, eh? To see what we are preparing. You can see the traditional vegetables. The sauce that we are using for cooking, the sauce.
So, Bernard, I will ask also Mogadi. Mogadi, do you also consume the same fish? You are dialing in from South Africa, right?
Yes, we don't consume as much tilapia, but tilapia is available in South Africa. South Africans are not very much, we don't eat too much fish. We eat a lot of meat instead. It's interesting for me to see tilapia, especially the one that's caught from Lake Victoria, like he said. It's very interesting because I know a lot of tilapia that we get here in South Africa is farmed tilapia. So it's quite, for me, it's interesting to see it so readily available in Kenya. So it's nice that he's using local food, he's using local fish. I'm not sure what oil he's using to fry that tilapia. It would also be interesting to see, because for us as South Africans, I mean, although we're neighbors, our food is slightly a little different. But we also eat a lot of the indigenous leaves, the greens that he's making. So it's interesting for me to see what he's doing with his local greens. Very, very interesting.
Nice. So, and Mogadi, you mentioned that South Africans consume a lot of meat. I assume that's due to the culture of braai. Braai is I don't want to call it barbecuing because it's something different I learned from my South African friends. Do you want to tell us a bit about that culture and how you see that changing or still sticking to the diet of South Africans?
Well, you're right about the braai. It is a form of a barbecue. But the thing about meat, the reason why we eat so much meat is because we as South Africans have literally the urbanization, the rate of urbanization in South Africa is so high that people have literally been moving from the rural areas where they ate the greens, where they ate, vegetables and grew their own vegetables, and meat wasn't such a big thing, to the urban areas where meat, fast food, braaiing, I mean, people braai on the side of the road is part of our culture, and it's part of street food. It's so easily and readily available and it's quick food that people now are eating more meat than traditionally, than we were traditionally. So our diets have changed a lot. And because of that, we suffer a lot from malnutrition and obesity. So we've got the two, we're living literally with the two. And what's happened now is slowly chefs and cooks are going back to the traditional foods. They're going back to the traditional vegetables. They're readily available, like you were saying, that they grow everywhere, they grow wild. So it's almost like people are slowly going back to the traditional foods. But then again, there's still this discourse that eating traditional foods or traditional greens is poverty, poverty food. So people don't want to be seen to be living in poverty, so they'd rather eat the meat. But again, this is going to take a lot of education from our government, from ourselves as chefs, from schools, to just take people back to that world where you can grow your own food and you can take care of your own food security without having to feel shame, and understand the nutrient value of the food that you grow. So it's slowly and slowly people are going back, but we still like such big meat eaters here in South Africa. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, thank you so
But
much.
I love the fish.
Yeah, you mentioned few of the key points, what we also discovered during one of our research when we researched nutrition inequalities and gaps worldwide. And very soon in this session, we will also have the team who was working on it joining us, and maybe we can exchange some ideas and thoughts about that with them. And now, after Kenya and verbally also South Africa, I would like to travel to Europe. Our next participant is dialing in from Austria. Nicola, are you here with us? Hi.
Yes, hi.
How are you?
Started to eat.
I can completely understand. Sorry about that. I know you are hungry. It's already lunchtime. So tell us, what did you prepare?
So I needed to improvise a bit because I'm moving next week. So these are the last 2 students left in Innsbruck who I found that could come to my flat. So I prepared a tomato soup in the beginning. It's like just tomatoes. It's all, my whole menu is plant-based.
Okay.
It's like tomato soup because tomatoes are in season at the moment. And after that, I will do a cauliflower panna cotta. It's in here already. I need to like flip it onto the plate. And then I'll serve it with homemade flat bread, which we did with Gian the last time because I really like that. So it's already, the dough is already prepared in here.
Oh, wow.
So I'll fry it in the pan. And also I serve it with courgettes and the stamp of the cauliflower, which I already fried in here.
So you took care of the waste.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought I'd use it as well.
Yes.
And as a dessert, I made semolina pudding. It's like a traditional Austrian, or I think even European ingredient, which is like flour. And I serve it with strawberry topping, which I think I got mainly the vegetable and the fruits from the farmer's market this morning, and the strawberries I still had in my freezer from going to the strawberry fields a month ago. So yes, that's basically it. I used like cheap ingredients. I think directly from the farmer's market. It was just 10 euros for all the vegetables I needed. And yes, I think it's a nutritious and accessible foods where most of the people would not think of.
Yeah, what did you make? How did you make the panna cotta? With what milk? Did you use plant milk there?
Yes, I used oat milk and soy cuisine from instead of the sahne. Cream, yeah.
That sounds amazing. It sounds really, really delicious.
Yes, a very diverse menu. I really like it. It's a great way to show how colorful and diverse plant-based and plant-forward menus can be. Not boring at all, what most people say. So Nicola, I have a question about the farmers market actually, because your thematic area is nutritious food, which is accessible and affordable. And I think connecting back to the people who are growing our food is very important. But in a lot of big cities in Europe, I get the criticism for these markets that actually the prices are not necessarily affordable for most of the people. So how do you see that in Innsbruck? Because you mentioned the 10 euros, which is, I think, a pretty good price for cooking for 3.
Yes.
But let's face it, not everyone can afford that. So how do you see that in Innsbruck? How are people shopping? Who are the people who are going to these farmers markets?
So we've got different markets. There are actually some which are quite expensive, but this one on the Saturday, close to my home, it's really cheap because it's like the farmer growing just their own food and not importing or like also selling foods from different farms. So it's just their own food and it's really cheap there. But I also experienced it in Vienna and as well in Vorarlberg, in another district. That they're like just different markets and you really have to figure out, okay, which are expensive and which are not. And mainly it's like the farmers who sell their own food, which they grow on their own farm, are the cheaper ones. And the others are like who buy foods from different farms are the more expensive ones. But we also have like these 24/7 stores directly at the farms, and it's really like exploding all over Austria, especially at the countryside. So these are mainly like products that are really accessible and affordable.
Wow. So 24/7 stores right at the farms. So people can just drive by and do their shopping.
Exactly.
Wow.
Like
Nice.
self-service. So it really relies on trust and on like people's good behavior.
Amazing. So I would have one final question before we travel to your neighbor country. And that's Innsbruck is also a university city. And I assume that your guests around the table are also either students or graduated recently. How was your food procurement practice during your studies? Because I know students are especially low on budget, right? So you need to think about what do you eat, and you have the choice of fast food or something what you prepare yourself. So you have to juggle with time, money, and everything. So what did you guys do during your studies?
These two or me?
Your guest, if they wish to answer.
In general, fruit and vegetables are kind of inexpensive in Austria compared to other countries. So, I mean, it really depends on the person, but I prefer kind of a healthy lifestyle. So it was not a problem to go to the normal supermarkets and get really good quality fruits and vegetables. Like at Hofer, which I don't know if you know that brand of supermarket. It's like Aldi in Germany. It's
so discounter.
Yeah, it's a discount store, but at the same time very high quality. Like they raised the quality the past few years. I think they have the best quality fruits and vegetables in all Austrian supermarkets. So I prefer going there because the farmers market, they're kind of not for the like day-to-day food purchases, because they're mostly like once a week and you need to like be there really early, so you still get good stuff. But the supermarkets here are stocked really well. So that's what you can do as a student, because it's not that expensive to buy quality fruits.
No, I would also agree. I would also agree to that, and I would say that it depends sometimes on the phase during your studies. If you have exam time, maybe you go once or two times. You go eat somewhere outside. Not that good food maybe, but usually it's easy and it's actually even cheaper if you prepare your stuff at home and make it immediately for 2 or 3 days. You don't cook every day, but you prepare, you freeze some things like strawberries, for instance, or in general, you make your things a plan and you cook 2 or 3 times a week, and all the rest of the week you can eat from the times that you cook. And this is actually cheap and you can eat really nutritious. So that's mostly how I handle it.
Amazing. Nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Moka,
thank
did you have any questions for them, or shall we travel to Hungary?
Let's travel to Hungary, please.
All right. Thank you, Nicola. Enjoy the rest of your lunch.
Thank you, Nicola.
Bye.
Bye.
So yes, I am very happy to introduce Boglalka, who we cannot see yet, but she's here. There she is.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm very well. So a little insider note for everyone. We are dialing in from the same country, but not from the same town, city. Your place is a town already, right? It's not a village. Or is it?
Well, at the moment, I am at a village, at my parents' place.
All right, okay. So Boglaika and myself are working on a circular economy project together. Very proud to talk about that
Very nice.
as well. But now I want her to tell us, what did she do for nutritious, affordable and accessible food as a team?
And easy because I'm not a great cook myself. So, it's 45 minutes past lunchtime. So I had this idea to create a dessert. And actually, I find a very good recipe that is based on traditional Chinese medicine. Now, if you are familiar with the concept, is very much aligned with nature. So it encourages people to eat what is seasonal, because the idea behind this is that in the summer, when it's hot, you need food that has a cooling effect, like cucumbers. And in the winter, when it's cold, it's better to eat warming food like roots and potatoes and such. And so this recipe is originally designed with summer fruits like berries, and this is how I made it. But it's also included in the recipe. If you want to make it in the autumn, you should use maybe peaches, or if you want to make it in the winter, you can use jam. And also use different spices. So the same, in the summer, maybe lemon, that is a bit like fresh. And in the winter, maybe cinnamon or such. And also, this is, I would say, a cruelty-free recipe. So there are eggs in it, but you can also switch it with aquafaba, like we talked about it with the pastry chef that I interviewed a few days ago. And also, so you can use butter, but if you want to go plant-based, you can go with coconut oil. And this all includes in the recipe. And I think it's very good that it gives a helping hand if you are not very good at or seasoned in the kitchen, then it gives you some help.
All right, I can't wait to see that dessert now.
Me too.
Well, it's already in the oven. It's not ready yet. But it smells amazing. You can imagine.
What's in it? What's in it?
What's in it? Well, oh yes, thank you for asking, because this is what I also wanted to talk about. So sunflower seeds are in it, in the base of the cake, and this is such a common sight in the Hungarian landscape, sunflower fields. And something that I just can't get tired of, as the big head of plates are turning towards the sun, and if it isn't magic, then I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And so it's something that is very close to my heart, and also in Hungarian cuisine or in the Hungarian households, sunflower seed oil is a staple. You can find it in every household, really. And so this is one of the ingredients, and as I mentioned, eggs and these berries in my version at the moment. And not much, because it's an 8-ingredient recipe actually.
So shall we imagine a cake, or it's like a sponge cake with the berries, or how shall we imagine the outcome?
Yeah,
more curried somehow.
So it's more like a sponge cake, I would say. Yeah. So you create a dough that is quite moist, and but you pour it into the form when you cook it, and you sprinkle the fruits on it, and then you bake it together.
Okay.
So Boglaika, Mogadi, go ahead.
No, it sounds very interesting. It sounds very delicious. So the sunflower seeds, did you crush them into flour?
Yes, I used a smoothie blender.
Okay.
But yeah, so I bought them in seed form, and
yes.
I grinded them.
Awesome. Nice.
So Boglek, I have a question for you about affordability of nutritious food in Hungary. How do you see that living in different parts of the country? What are the procurement practices of people, and how are they paying attention to the seasonality, what you also mentioned?
Well, I think, it's good to have recipes like this that you can change the ingredients according to what is affordable to you. Because, for example, I should have used rice flour in it. And I went to the supermarket and rice flour is just super expensive. And I was just like, no, thank you. And so I used a rather regular flour. But I think it will be okay. I hope it will be okay. It must be okay. And so
I think this was actually a very important tip what you just gave to the audience. And this is what I would like to highlight. Recipes are there to guide us, but you do not need to stick to a recipe gram per gram, and also maybe by baking, yes, but there are substitutes for ingredients. And you can make those more conscious choices to procure something which is grown locally.
Yes.
That will also mean that it's more affordable, hopefully. We know how supermarket systems kind of changed a bit. But I think we should become a bit braver or bolder to make those calls, right? Like
those choices,
you can make risotto not only from rice. You can use so many other grains, but I think people tend to forget they exist because all what you know is rice and pasta. So I think this was a very important tip what you just gave to our audience. Thank you.
Yes, and so just one more word about it. I think there are some very good recipes in the Hungarian cuisine that you can alter according to what you like and what you have. Like the lecho, the ratatouille that we consume all summer. Some people do it with meat. Well, my family doesn't do it with meat because we like, it's made of pepper and tomato and such. And you can put egg in it, or you can leave out the egg. So there are kind of a flexibility to the recipe.
Definitely. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Someone just asked, is it like a clafouti? Is your dessert like a clafouti? Someone asked on the chat.
Is that a very fancy cake?
Yes, it's a fancy cake with.
Well, it's just like that. It's just
berries.
Amazing. So, Boglarka, I really hope that you don't need to wait too long for that cake anymore to enjoy with your family. One side note, it was very interesting that you started the conversation. It's already 45 minutes past lunchtime. And, like not living in Hungary for a very long time, I completely forgot we took that so serious. All right.
You just don't want hungry people around your table.
That's true.
No.
All right. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
I think we will travel back to Africa again, and we should have Novalzi with us already online from Zimbabwe. Novalzi, are you there? Yes.
Yes, she's there.
Hello.
Hi, Nolazi.
Very nice to meet everyone. So tell us, who are you having your lunch with?
I'm having it with my family and my best friend. She's in the jacket of the day waiting. Yeah. So essentially, this is what we're eating. Hold on. Can you see?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So it's essentially what I made was that I was really excited to do this kind of stuff. So I wanted to try and make a new recipe for changing up what we normally eat out here in Zim. So what we normally have.
Novalzi, do you mind Sorry, do you mind coming closer to the
Closer.
computer to make sure that we can hear you well? Sorry.
Yeah, just bring it closer.
Thank you.
So essentially, what I did is that I wanted to like kind of mix up what we normally have in Zim, because literally we just like our main staple is fatwa, what we normally have. And since I wanted to make something that was both nutritional and also like accessible to everybody, I thought I would like take our normal maize meal and then like make it into a patty, and then maybe like have spices into it instead of like using meat. Also, we normally have like yeah, that's what I wanted to do. It's more fibrous than what we normally have. It's a bit more expensive, but I think most people can at least have this. And it's just like really all you need is oil and a pan, which everyone can essentially have in Zim. Also, I like kind of took an old recipe from what we normally have. We kind of called that cooks. And I just kind of just used the more fibrous meal, as well as just for savings purposes. I decided that I would make a normal relish, what we made of kobu. It looks kind of like kale. Yeah, actually, I could show you a leaf. It looks kind of like, it looks like this. So it looks
Chumulia.
like yeah.
Is that chumulia?
So I did that, and also because I wanted to be more responsible and save more food and have less food waste. I decided to mix that one traditional bidri with like banana peel, which is like over here. If you can see the little black things, it was just something that I wanted to try, as well as since I want to cut back on eating now, I'm like vegetarian, like not having a lot of meat, but still in there somewhere. Not ready to go full vegetarian yet, but yeah. And then so I decided to make these, which is like soya chunks. They're not that expensive yet. So you can
Sorry, may I disturb for a moment? I didn't hear what was this orangish, yellowish colored part on your plate. What was that?
Oh, these are soya chunks. They're like substitutes for meat. Most vegetarians can have it, and they're not that expensive. So
I didn't hear.
As well as we have timba, which is pinta. Yeah. Also, I cook that. It's actually like really small fish. So just like mixing on my plate and having more variety than I would really have.
So Novalsi, I will ask you a favor, if you don't mind, because the quality of the sound is very
Sound
poor.
is bad.
I really want everyone to understand what you were explaining. While I will ask Mogadi to tell us about that greeny leaf, what he recognized. Could you please type the name of the ingredients in the chat so we can read it out loud so that everyone will know what you cook? Because I really don't want anyone to miss. It was a very nice and colorful plate as well. So Mogadi, what was that greeny leaf?
That greeny leaf is called chumulia. It's called chumulia, and it's a Zimbabwean kale. It's like a kale. It's got kale. It looks like kale. It's got a kaley texture and heartiness, but it's locally grown in Zimbabwe. It's a Zimbabwean kale. It's beautiful, delicious, delicious, delicious.
Is that something that you also use and eat in South Africa?
Yes, we get chumulia in South Africa. I mean, I make pickles with chumulia. I make a spicy pickle as just to preserve it for later when it's not around, because it's a winter crop. So you only get it during the winter. So it likes the cool. And I use it. I normally pickle it. I normally make it into a spicy pickle to eat it even in the summer. So I love chumulia. It's one of my favorite greens.
Very nice. So Novalsi, is this something, so your plate, what you prepared, is that something what you eat on a regular basis? Or is that something special what you prepared for today?
It was something special because I really wanted to like branch out of what I normally eat, and I thought this would be a very good time to introduce my family and myself into new areas and expanding my palate. So yeah, most of them are kind of like recipes kind of smushed together to make something.
So the salsa is maize meal, right?
Yeah.
And what did you put in the salsa? Because salsa is not necessarily nutritious. What did you put to fortify it, to make it more nutritious?
Okay. Well, for this certain type, I took the one that had more fiber in it, so the one that's less refined. So it was better for like your digestive system in general, and added a few spices into it just for like taste and also health-wise. So I didn't like innovate it that much. I just wanted to try something new with it. But yeah, also just wanted to express something that we also have here, just in a different way.
Okay.
So, and how are your guests enjoying the dish what you prepared?
Well,
good. Yeah, actually, I'm surprised I like the fatty. It's a bit spicy. And then the other thing she didn't mention, with this particular mini meal that you chose, it's multi-grain. We have sorghum, we have millet, and then you have maize. So that's actually why it's probably more healthy. We don't usually have this. We normally have the white one. So yeah, she's introducing us to a new thing. So I'm particularly liking this with the soup.
Okay, Novalsi, you will need to repeat this for us because we didn't hear what is that new ingredient what you are introducing.
Just put millet, sorghum. Millet and
sorghum.
Sorry, I wish the sound quality would be better. I'm very curious, but I'm very happy to see that you are actually introducing new things at the table. Also, have you managed to discuss the topics what you learned about food systems and climate change during the past 3 weeks? Are you talking about that with your guests?
Yeah, we just started talking about it. It's all a lot of new information. The thing that was like really shocking for my family was like eating things that we don't really consider as food waste, like banana peels. They were looking at me like I was crazy. But yeah, they're still looking at me like I'm crazy, but we will get there. You know, but we're still discussing and stuff like that.
Amazing. All right, Novalsi, thank you so much. I let you enjoy and finish your plate, not that it gets cold. Thank you so much for sharing the ingredients. It was very nice to see. And now I would like to ask all of our members of the Nutrition for All research who are here with us to switch on their cameras and come on board. So I would like to basically do a bit of a teaser about something what we will publish next week. So I would like to ask everyone to stay tuned while we get Jan Kees and Erika and Anusha, Anastasia, Elizabeth, everyone. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
So Mogadi, I have a bunch of people here with me to talk about the research what we conducted last year. It was a 3 months research initiative, and we were trying to identify the main causes and root problems in nutrition inequalities and gaps worldwide. And we took a rather unconventional approach. After doing our literature review, we hosted 6 Nutrition for All dinners in 6 different countries. Wow. So some of the people on the screen were actually the local hosts of these dinners. So imagine the climate supper, but in a very local and multiple stakeholder environments, where we try to figure out what is their relation to nutrition and how is their consumption, how is that changing, how do they see it in their environment. So the 6 countries where we hosted these dinners are Zimbabwe, Brazil, the US, Poland, Japan, and India. So now I know because of time zones and everything, we didn't manage to have everyone here, but I would like to open rather a roundtable style of conversation. Yes. And everyone, please feel free to introduce yourself and tell us what was your role in the research And what was your main takeaway or something what was surprising for you to identify? Or is there something what happened after this dinner in your community based on the discussions? So I will nominate, because I know that usually there is this awkward moment when everyone is waiting for who will start first. So I would like to start with one of my research fellows, Erica. Hi.
Hi everyone. Thanks a lot for all the amazing dishes that I had the pleasure to see today. I started together with Yankees, Julia and Anastasia, the literature review and the writing of this white paper on nutrition. And I had also the pleasure to take part of some of the dinner that Julia was mentioning. And I'm really happy also to see Anusha and Elizabeth here with me because India was one of the dinner I took part to. It was a format that was really interactive, really lively. And one of the most interesting aspect that surprised me a lot was the idea that came out during the dinner, the Indian dinner, about shame of some of the younger generation about indigenous fruit and some of the traditional food practices. I found it really surprising, but at the same time, really surprised me and left me like a really positive vibe because of the kind of the debate and the kind of awareness that about these aspects. And really stuck in my mind one of the one sentence that a seed keeper said during the dinner, saying that food is like fashion, so it comes back. And I really would like to stress this point because we all know that there are lots of problems, lots of issues, especially when we are dealing with nutrition, because it's not only about quality food, it deals with a lot of complexities and different layers of complexity, but there is increasing awareness, and I would like to share this positive side also.
Nice.
Thank you, Erica. So who are you nominating to continue after you?
Yeah, I would like to nominate Yankees as the
Thank you, Erica, for this opportunity. Well, first of all, it was lovely to work on this project with Julia and Erica and also Anastasia, because I think we were quite a diverse group. And starting from the literature, we actually selected or pointed out some of I think the country selection was one of the interesting points also, because we really did some research and looked for where different aspects of getting good nutrition played a role. And me personally, I was very surprised at the Brazil dinner, but I can better call it the Latin American dinner, because there were also people from Guatemala and all sorts of countries in that area. And me personally, I live in Holland, and we also have quite a few issues with nutrition inequality. And the main reason is that the fresh foods and fruits are very expensive. So these very unhealthy products that are really tasty, but they are also the cheapest. So getting good nutrition in Holland, or I would dare to say in Europe, is really it's like a niche product. You have to be able to afford to buy it. And then we went to Latin America, and there I was surprised that people that have all of this great biodiversity around them, they actually sell it to be able to afford these very unhealthy products because it has some kind of brand that gives them social status. So for me, it was really surprising that actually the fresh foods were too cheap. So that made them not cool, or you wanted to show that you were able to afford these imported Western foods. So for me, that was really interesting, and it was food for thought. So how can we brand actually fresh foods, because there's no packaging. You cannot say this is good for you, while on these ultra processed foods you have like on the package is high in minerals or high in proteins, and people with a low food literacy really think that because it's on the package that it's better for you than these fresh foods. So I think it was really an amazing insight.
Exactly. So Yankees, we also mentioned the different angles, and we had 4 different perspectives or directions what we identified for the research. Would you mind very shortly telling a bit about those 4? That's okay. Okay, I got you off guard. Sorry. So I meant, and here Anastasia and Erika can jump in as well. So I mean, hidden hunger, social nutrition, ecosystems, and the food generation gap. I think these were the 4 directions what we identified.
I would like to elaborate on the hidden hunger, because I think that's one of the interesting parts. And that's actually the term empty foods is really, pointing out the problem. It's that you have access to a lot of calories, but not the micronutrients. So it seems that you have enough to eat, but actually you have all kinds of deficiencies. And I think one of the reasons for this is the adoption of this West diet, they call it, but with all these ultra processed products that really don't have any nutritional value. So yeah, it's people also can be obese, but still have deficiencies, and I think that's the point of view I like the most. But then we also have these gender inequalities in certain countries, and also the food generation gap. I think that's comparable to what I just described in Latin America, that the younger generation wants to gain some status with eating some products, while the older generation is really looking for how the foods tasted back in their time. So yeah, I would leave the floor to Anastasia to explain something more about the gender inequalities also, I think.
Yes. Hi, hello everyone. Yes, it was a pleasure also for me to work with all of you in this really interesting project. And yes, about our 4 points of view, we will see also this part related to not only gender inequality, and especially that is this a sort of how to say that we can see that even if the women seems to be the person that have the power when we talk about food or when we talk about nutrition, at the same time in some circumstance is there are also the people that, for instance, have to eat the leftover, or that maybe they consider before to give proper nutrition for child and for their man, and that they can eat less or not with the proper nutrition value. at another point of view related to our fourth angle. For me, really, really interesting was the ecosystem. Because what we discovered, that was this close relationship between the rural and urban area, in the sense that we are talking a lot about sustainable urbanization, but in order to do this, we strongly work in the rural area. We should strongly empower the rural area, because in most of the country, in most of the region, the rural area is the aim of, for instance, for the agriculture, so for the production of food. And also this is something that came up during the dinner from Zimbabwe and, for instance, from Poland, that is really, really, the farmer should be a key actor, especially in terms of give them a sort of financial literacy, to be more stronger, to be more also consciousness, about what they are doing, the power that they can have, and especially the small farmer. And this could be a sort of bridge between empowering rural area for really, really help a more sustainable urbanization in terms of food and nutrition. This is something that for me it was really, really interesting to see, to understand, and that this point is something that I really would like to explore a bit more, because we are talking a lot about development of rural area, at the same time to create garden in urban area. But I think that is a sort of there is a sort of complementarity between these two aspects. And farmer can be a sort of really, really a sort of key actor to create this. And the other one was related to social nutrition. And it was related, of course, about all the things that already said Yankee and Erika, for instance. This also relationship with food, where food is not when we think about food, we think about accessibility and affordability in terms of price, of if we can find something, but sometimes is also related to our culture, in the sense that sometimes some food is not cool enough. Is not cool enough, especially for the young generation. And this is something that came up I think more or less in all the dinner, not only so with the different perspective, but for instance that I don't know, for instance that indigenous food is not cool enough, but at the same time, for instance, I remember in Poland that for sometimes the meat is so important that sometimes for some of the people, vegetables is like not a food. So it's different based on the culture, but it's something that that is we found with different perspective, but that is a really big impact. So it's not only matter of price or if you can find something or not, but it's also something the symbol that food can have.
Yeah. The acceptability, I think that was the word what we used in this equation. We said food access is affordability, availability, and acceptability. These are the three components what we believe makes food accessible. Or nutrition accessible. So we mentioned Poland, Anastasia mentioned Poland. So I would like to ask Alicia to tell us about her dinner and how that specific conversation, or those conversations, because we had very diverse topics we touched during that dinner.
Yeah, I think that a lot of points were already mentioned, but the aspect of meat as a staple food and something that is the most important part of the meal, and without meat there is no like
snow
good
meal.
meal that it's not sustainable for a good diet is something that is very common, and unfortunately this is something also that is being right now promoted by our government and our Ministry of Agriculture. There were quite a few discussions on Twitter where our Minister of Agriculture would mention that vegetarian or vegan diets or plant-based diet in general is not something that we should all strive for, because we should support our agriculture and our meat and dairy producers. And this was quite sad to observe. And of course, we also have quite strong plant-based movements and a lot of non-governmental organizations. But it really shows where Poland in this whole discussion on systemic changes is, because if our Ministry of Agriculture does not give or set up a good example, then what about this people we were mentioning? Jan mentioned the health literacy, or rather no literacy around people, and misconceptions and miscommunication. And this is something that feeds this kind of misconceptions, because if someone who is said to be authority or a role model does not give this model, then what about people who have no access, for example, to good education? Because we are not only talking about the education that you can get, but we start to talk also about health inequalities and the factors that are independent from the people. And I do believe that governments and politicians do have responsibility for making this right direction for changes. And we cannot only speak about the personal responsibilities when we talk about the food system, but also when we talk about health system and so on and so on. So of course our discussions over the dinner was very inspiring, and we all tapped our backs and we knew each other because we've collaborated multiple times, and we said and showed very different perspectives and different approaches and attitudes, but still we also deep down inside know that the systemic changes is what is needed so badly. And we can of course talk about this bottom-up movement and the grassroots movements and all the activism that is needed, and it's happening also in Poland, but it's not enough.
Yeah, I agree. We need to keep those grassroots initiatives happening and thriving, and but we need to be able to bring those agricultural ministers at the table. So maybe next climate supper we should bring him on board, and so he can
ask him some questions,
his opinion, and maybe we can have an educated discussion around it, because that's very important, that his message is reaching the mass, and he has huge influence on decisions, food decisions made by the public. So we still have Elizabeth and Anusha from India with us. I would like them to also say a few words, and then we have to jump back on the climate supper train and plane, because we will go to China afterwards with a little break in Polika again. But Elizabeth, Anusha, how did you experience your dinner?
So firstly, for us, pulling off the entire dinner in the middle of one of the COVID waves was very interesting. With the virtual dinner, where we organized a very local and a fruit-based meal that we sent out to multiple participants in the same city, and all of us tuned in and had the dinner at the same time. So the experience of organizing it, curating it itself was very interesting. It was like a very fitting dinner to what we all faced collectively as a world in 2020. But one of the major things I think that we had a lot of very, very interesting conversations that flowed with the diversity of people who were present there. So one thing that is also pretty evident when you talk about nutrition in India is that nutrition is often, or the lack of nutrition is often seen as an economic equality, but the underlying social inequality is something that we often overlook. So that comes in form of, say, social status, caste, region, religion, etc.
And interlinking nutrition with some of these very important social aspects, I think, was one of the major takeaways for us. When we're talking about nutrition for all, and we only had like a subset of people with whom we could have these conversations with, like that itself was one of the biggest takeaways. Like ever since then, at Edible Issues, we've tried to make our entire panel much more inclusive, but there are also some logistical barriers in a country like India with so many multiple languages. So that's something that we're trying to overcome with respect to making sure that people of all different stratas are present in the conversation when we're trying to open up and understand something as important as nutrition from a very, very holistic perspective. So another very important thing that also came up was also about the context at which innovations in nutrition are coming up, right? So a lot of the speakers before me touched upon a little bit about acceptability, again, which is something that stems from social inequalities and equalities and statuses. So I think that just like putting all of these things in perspective was definitely one of the major takeaways that I personally had. I'll pass on to Elizabeth to also pitch in and tell what she had as takeaways.
I think one special story or anecdote that I really liked was from a researcher who was looking at ecology in peri-urban areas of the city. And she noticed from those stories that kids, when they work, I mean, now adults, but when when she asked them about fruit trees in the neighborhood, or, where do they, go to get nutrition from, or foods that they used to participate and eat in. They remembered from their childhood days that around their schools, there used to be these trees and they used to just go and pluck fruit off of them. And now I think with a destruction of ecology, we've seen those fruit trees or those wild edibles that used to give certain sections or certain people nutrition, or you could go to those spaces to whether it's mentally or actually physically get nutrition from, those have disappeared. And so that was an interesting space where you see how us and the environment, how equally degrading it can be for our bodies and the planet. So that was one very interesting note and a takeaway for me from the session.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So, little teaser again, if you would like to know more about this research and the outcome and the learnings, what we had, next Friday, I think that will be the 23rd of July, we will launch the results. There will be a dedicated website unpacking nutrition, and you will find all of the findings and the entire white paper available for everyone. And I really hope that this will be just the start to collect and feature many solutions for the problems what we identified. So part of the research was also to identify grassroots initiatives in the different regions where we had the dinners, and also to come up with potential solutions what we believe we could collaborate on and start working towards a better and more nutritious food system. So I would like to thank everyone from the Nutrition for All team for joining us today. And I know that we have right now Sarah and Paul as well in the same time on the call. So I would like them to come on board, come on the screen. And I think Sarah also has some company to show us from the castle.
Yes, I'm not alone. I just in the castle. For the students here, ready to share with you the recipe from the. Let's see if you recognize who's just now.
Sarah.
Bernardo with a new friend.
Ciao, Bernardo.
Ciao, Paul.
Hi, Sarah.
Ciao,
yes.
Ciao. So here we are.
Looks amazing.
Yes, we are broadcasting from the campus, and the guys just prepared for you a very traditional recipe from the tradition here in Cilento, inspired to say sustainability very much, because this is one of the most famous dish and is prepared with say, old. You can hear also our bells from the village. And let's say, Bernardo, I leave the stage to both of you, actually.
Okay. We're making agro-ecological, which literally means spreading and salt. And it's a traditional recipe from Cilento. It's a really sustainable recipe because it's made all with typical ingredients like tomatoes or bread and olive oil. This is olive oil from Cilento. The bread is old bread, so it's also a no-waste recipe. As you can see, it's very old, and this recipe has a really interesting story behind. One time, sailors used to have some bread that they couldn't eat because it was too hard and they couldn't eat it. So what did they do? They started to soak it in the seawater, and they served it with some tomatoes, some onions, or maybe some oil. And for this reason, it's called water and salt salad, because the bread started to soak over from the sea, which is salted. We're starting the recipe. It's extremely easy. We're using old bread. We're cut it in not too small pieces, not like breadcrumbs, but just bread pieces. And then we're gonna soak it for 1 minute in the salt water. It's not hot, but it's
All right. I think
we lost them.
Yes, but this happens time to time with connections. Sorry about that. Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can do. Connection went away.
It went away when you were soaking the bread.
Exactly.
Yes.
The quality is not the best.
In the water from seawater.
Ah.
The old fishermen were cooking like that while they were out in the night in their boats. And so this is really a very old and traditional recipe. They were bringing the old bread in the boat with them, and they were soaking the bread in the water from the sea. And basically, this was the starting point of a very, very special dish that now became the most popular dish here in Cilento, and it's called acqua sale. So just the basic things, water and salt. So, Giulia, I know you have tons of other guests in this journey. We are gonna reconnect also later from the kitchen.
Yes, that would be amazing. So let's go on with the students in China and so on, and then maybe you can reconnect shortly before we finish, so we can see the result of Bernardo's cooking.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, amazing.
Absolutely, yes. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao. So I mentioned China so many times. I think it's time now to ask Yang to join us on screen. Hi, thank you for your patience.
Hi, everyone.
How are you?
Good. I'm very good. I'm in my home now. It's my friend Charles.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
We're currently finished with the meal, and I want to show you right now.
Okay.
Sorry. I think this would be a dish. I prepared 4 different dishes. Let's start with seafood. This is butterfish that actually came from not far from Shanghai. I made it like deep pan fried. Actually inside is stuffed with some like ginger and peppermint. And then I also had some like different kind of mushrooms. It's very seasonal here. And I just, like deep fry, very simple, and paired it with some like dormant resources, I would say, like some sausages from Yunnan that I bought some time ago. I actually add a lot of flavors. I also added some like dry shrimp, which is always my trick to cook. And then here you will see a lot of white chunks. These are actually from two different kind of plants. One is called jiaobai.
Zazania.
Zazania. This is a word I've never heard before, actually. Well, Charles introduced to me. This is a very typical vegetables that people would eat in the summertime. People in the summertime in Vietnam and also like southern part of China. This plant actually grows near the water. So it's a good indication about how good the water quality is, because it only can grow in like better water quality. And then I also have some like bamboo shoots. I put them like marinate them a little bit in the plum sauce. So it's like sweet, sour, a little bit salty with a little bit of licorice taste. And the last one is this dish I made with tomato, tofu, and some tomatoes, tofu, and some like baby
Chinese cabbage.
Baby Chinese cabbage, yes. And I made my sauce that's like it's mango based actually. Well, the mango is also from China, so it's not that carbon heavy, I would say. Like it's still environmental friendly. It's spicy, sour, sweet, and they also have some bread. So we are ready to start our dinner and share with you.
Thank you so much. I must say, you mentioned a few ingredients what I heard about the first time. What was very interesting for me is to hear dormant resources, and you mentioned the sausage as a dormant resource. Did I understand it correctly?
Yes.
So why
Yes.
why do you consider that a dormant resource?
From first of all, I think what I understand about dormant resources is something that is out there, and before you like it's something out there, and when you explore it and kind of apply it in a new situation, will become something very actually can have a much bigger impact. I think for this sausage, I never use it as like a flavor enhancer like this before. And when I added it and I tried it with this first time, it worked really well. So I think that could be a dormant resources. And then this is something I actually have been keeping it for 3 to 4 months in the fridge. So no health hazard, but it's something that's being left out. And I think when I try to bring this into this dinner, I reuse the resources. So I think these two layers make it a dormant resources.
Very well. So Mogadi, I'm getting really hungry now. I don't know how many dinners, lunches we visited. What do you say?
What are you preparing?
Well, I am preparing tea, so I can be here with you, and I'm not spending time in the kitchen and visit all of the tables. That's my.
Wish I could send you some dishes.
Oh,
Wish
yeah,
I
that
could
would
send
be
you
very
some
nice.
food. Yes.
So Mogadi, do you have any questions for Young? Maybe you are muted.
Oh, I'm
Thank
not
you.
muted. Oh.
Yes, it was
Sorry.
me. I was the one who was muted. That your dinner looks very,
hey.
very delicious and very interesting. Why did you use mushrooms? Why those mushrooms? The ones that you cooked with the sausage.
Yeah. I think first of all, I really like mushrooms. Like recently, I've been obsessed with like different kind of fungi. Like I've been doing research about it. And this morning, when I went to the local market, I saw like all different kind of mushroom just like stand there. I was very curious. So I went to the vendor. We had a conversation, and she introduced me all different kind of textures of the mushroom, and it's just super interesting. And like when I think about this dinner, when I try to plan around it, I had this vision in my head actually is there must be something about mushroom, because I feel it's something that is in between, I would say, vegetables and meat. It has I feel like if more people have more variations in utilizing these ingredients and put them into their daily diet, I feel this could be a good way to, let's say, find substitute for meat. And also, like, this is something that's for the city. Mushroom can be grown in the city. I want to put this in also. Yeah, thank you for bringing this up. Actually, I think mushroom is something that when it comes to growing, it could also help with alleviate the negative impact from like transporting ingredients from outside of the city into the city. Mushroom could be part of it to help with the situation. So yes.
No, that's nice. I like the fact that you included so many diverse ingredients on your plate. It looks really delicious and tasty. Thank you. And thank you about the mushrooms. I've just learned something new today from you. Thank you so much. And also the fact that you had never had them before and now you included them. So you learned something new today.
Yes, definitely.
Nice.
I'm very happy that I tried it out. Yes.
Very nice.
All right. So now it's time to enjoy what you cooked. So we cheers together, have a wonderful dinner, and we will go now to Ireland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If anyone, bye. If you would wonder why are we jumping from continents to continents, well, we needed to juggle with different time zones and still have a lunch or dinner time. So I hope that we still have Owen on the call. Yes. Owen, are you there?
Hey guys, how are we?
Hi, how are you?
How are we?
Hi.
Greetings from the wonderful, sunny, not oftenly sunny Ireland. So we're experiencing the hottest day of the year so far. It's only 27.
What is the temperature that
27 degrees.
Okay.
So this is hot for Ireland. So it's good. I'm in my house, which is currently under construction. So we have a makeshift kitchen, and I have my the best guests anyone I could ever ask for. And it's something so professionally, I work in the industry. I own a bakery eatery. So it's super important that I actually get to cook for these guys more often. Say hello. Say hello. Over here. Now. So this is the 3-year-old Sadie Klusky. Say hi, Sadie. And this is
Hi,
Oliver.
Sadie.
And this is Oliver, who's 7.
Hi, Oliver.
You're 6. He's 6. He says, "I'm not 7, Dad, not yet." But it's a different take on, I think, what we're trying to do. You know, when people talk about the future of food and sustainability and all this, my main focus, having this as a living and is the kids. It's the educational piece. It's really, really something in the forefront of what I believe in. If we can, it's probably why I'm a chef and a baker, because all my distant memories were growing up under my nana, who was a baker. My nana passed away when I was 15 years old, but it's funny how the cycle changed that I became a baker. So it's super important that I cook for these guys. I'm always around cooking. So they're big on desserts, though. That's the problem. So when I'm cooking for them, I do different things. Like, for instance, what we're doing for lunch today is we're just using some actually natural yogurt. Comes in off the farm. It's absolutely delicious. And we're going hot tomatoes in season. And I just finished them with a bit of courgette. I was bringing up in the cooking industry to look at food as in what grows together, goes together. So all my food is always super simple. So it's it can be difficult for times to get the younger generation to eat it. So sometimes tomatoes can be strawberries, but not necessarily. So and we just use some really nice char grilled sourdough. So this is actually it's a potato sourdough. It takes about, all my bread takes about 3.5 days to make. So I always char grill it. I love the flavors. And then the younger generation today made this for lunch. So this is a take on their bread. I never put their bread in proven baskets. It's a focaccia. But what we did was we dehydrated the potato skins from the bread, and we just make it a salt.
Oh, nice.
So very, very simple. I'll try to get a better shot of these two. Are you saying hello, Oliver? Sadie? No? Do you want to eat? And then for the dessert, we made them this. They actually picked these little raspberries.
Wow.
And when I'm coming to pastry, I'm always conscious of sweet, sweet, sweet. So what we do is anything I make with a wholemeal spelt. It's a locally grown spelt. We mill it in the bakery. So the pastry is just spelt and it's got a corn flour. So they're different. They're a wild flour. So we use them fresh and then we dehydrate them and use them the year through. And that's dessert. And we're making some bread later on. So we have some mother culture going. We have some grain that we use, that we mill in the house. I have them using a little mock mill at the moment to understand that. And that's what we're doing.
Wow, amazing. Even in a construction site. So we already have 2 kids in your community who will grow up knowing where their food is coming from, what they can do with it. How do you see in their school or in the kindergarten, how is the education in Ireland? Are they already incorporating these kind of practices in, in such early education already?
Actually, strangely enough, no. It's a massive issue I have at the moment. There's a massive movement that I'm involved in Ireland. It's just get kids to grow food and cook food. I suppose it's probably a worldwide problem that a lot of people say, like government, even the government, we're doing this. It's the greenwashing thing. They're working to goals that they have no intention to work with. It's the same as school. I myself grew up in a school, went through schooling right through to told that get a job, don't quit it, and just stick with it. And as in, like, you'll never make anything yourself. I employ 31 staff. I have another 42 to come on. I'm opening 2 more centres. So I'm always saying to the kids, no matter what happens in school, it's a piece you have to go through, but understand growing. So I have them on the farm once a week. I'm working with the local school they're in now to try get back in, but COVID's still a little, it's still a bit, the government over here aren't so keen to let anyone anywhere. So I've done a little bit in Oliver School, a lot of bread making. And it's actually, I find even through bread classes, teaching people, I can teach a child 10 times faster than I can teach an adult. Because it's the understanding. They ask questions, but they'll listen if you ask them. I think adults always say, but what if? Where kids always say to me, why? So it's a weird conversation. So why are you doing that? And I'm like, because of this. I was like, but what if this happens? They try to put this, whether it's a mental block or a physical block about ability. I can't do that because I don't have a pot. Well, I'm like, we'll get a flower pot. Well, I don't have an oven. Well, what do you heat in? Like, there's so many methods to make where kids just absorb it and take it. So it's very important to me. The kids are super important to me. I don't know if I have a baker or a pastry chef here. I'd say this one might be a pastry chef, and Oliver might be a baker. Can be a baker? Yeah, he's nodding yes. What's your favorite food to eat, Sadie? Do you want to tell people? For some strange reason, she just loves pasta.
They all do.
What's your favorite food? He's saying croissants.
Oh, nice.
But it's an interesting take where people, what I basically would do with pastry, we make a lot from wholemeal. So we make a 100% wholemeal. We look to alternative fats. And again, we do everything through the mother culture, the sour, so no commercial yeast. And I think when we look at food and affordability, especially, and accessibility, I think all that genuinely leads back to education. I think there's a big gap missing of not being able to cook. So that willing of, no, I don't know how to do that. I'm not willing to learn at a later age. It's funny because I'm actually a qualified carpenter. So I grew up in a bakery, left school, became a carpenter, and fell back in love with food on 8 years of traveling. I was very fortunate to travel from here to Australia, Southeast Asia, and I fell in love with food. And then coming back 9 years ago and starting a new career was a massive move for me, from addiction to food.
No, it's very interesting that you have your children there as your guests, because children are very honest. If they don't like something, they don't like it. They're not going to eat it. You know, they're not going to try and pretend. And if they like something, they'll eat it. So it's very interesting for me to bring children into the kitchen. I also have a son, and from a young age, I taught him vegetables, and even till today, he's a teenager, but he eats his vegetables purely because I opened him up to that, for fruits. If he wanted something sweet, I'd give him an orange or a peach, and he associated that with fruit. And it's like fruit is sweet and vegetables. So he's very comfortable with vegetables. It's very interesting for me. And I think the young people are the ones that actually hold the key to change, to behavioral change, even for parents. So it's very interesting that you started with your kids and you've involved them. So I kind of like, it's very nice.
Yeah, I would genuinely, I'd agree. Like it's, I think that the decision makers are actually the 9-year-olds that we have nowadays. I feel that they have the knowledge and also the technology, but they're missing the voice. But I believe in them 9-year-olds or 16-year-olds, unless change comes, well, change coming either way, but unless we start adjusting to that, they want to know. They want to know where their food comes from, who they're working for, what your values are, what's your goal, what's your vision. It's not all about the generation coming. It's not about money to them. It's about balance, the whole lot. So it's a massive movement. And I do agree with you. Oliver's favorite snack is actually carrots. And he sometimes can't understand why we can't have strawberries all year round. So I do my best. I keep them solid on the seasonal eating. The creche that Sadie's in, the teachers aren't allowed to give her industrial bread, and they can't fathom why. And I'm just like, I just say she's an allergy to it, so it makes it very easy. So she only ever eats real bread with 3 ingredients, and she's now 3. Oliver's 6, so it's good. It's really good.
It's good. Yes.
Amazing. Owen, thank you so much for sharing this.
Anytime, guys.
Say bye. Enjoy your lunch.
Say bye.
Bye, guys.
Say bye, Oliver. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Oliver.
Oh, quick, last one. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy your day.
See you next time. Bye. All right. So we have one more country to cover, Nigeria. And we have, I think, Agareza is waiting to come on screen.
Yes, I am.
Hi. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, that's fine. I hope you can see me. Yeah, okay. Let me translate.
You also have someone from the younger generation with you.
Yes, I invited someone for. Okay, so I don't know. I hope you can see the whole. I hope the video is clear enough.
Maybe first you talk to us and then you can show directly the food. Maybe that's the easiest.
So good afternoon. I've had a long day because today I'm moving house. So I had to be able to do this. So, and I invited my friend, Favor, and her son to help me move house. And so I've been busy since 6 a.m. But now we're ready for lunch because my lunch is prepared. So I think I'll show the food. Okay, so what I made is plantain, boiled plantain. I don't know if it's clear.
Yes, now we can see it.
Okay, so boiled plantain. This is this. I cut it in 2. And then I have a sauce. The sauce is a vegetable sauce and it's very nutritious. It's called ugu leaf. It's made from ugu leaves. And what I have in it is, I took pictures of the raw food though. I can send in later, but it's like a stir fry. So you put in your oil. There's vegetable of tomatoes, onions, and pepper. And I diced all of them. I have the pictures of those I'll send in later. I also had dry fish, which is mixed in the vegetable. The reason for that is it's important to have protein, very nutritious protein. So I decided to use the dried fish, is mackerel, but mackerel that is dried up. Why? Because I like the taste of the crunchiness in the vegetable, and it's very nice. What also is in it is, so the ugu leaf is very good for yes, like Favor is saying.
It makes it look fresh and you look sweet, good.
Okay, so it makes it look fresh. So it gives a lot of nutrition. Actually, it also gives blood. When I mean gives blood, for those that when you're sick, it's one of the things you can squeeze out the ugu leaves and drink the liquid. And it's very nutritious for health. And it's one of my favorite meals because most times when I've not had good food in a while, what I try to do is just to take it so that to replenish all the nutrients. So there's dried fish in it, and there's plantain, there's onions, there's pepper,
Tomatoes,
fresh tomatoes. So I believe we're ready we're actually starving because we've been working since
All right. Sorry, Agarese, to make you wait with your food. Then I have one last question. This leaf you made the dish from, is that something that is commonly consumed in Nigeria? Is that something?
It's actually very common. It's one of the most common vegetable in Nigeria. It's called ugu leaf. I don't know. I will need to check if there's an English. It's not spinach. It's different, a little bit different from spinach, but it's locally grown. So you can actually grow it in your house. And a lot of people grow it in their gardens. But unfortunately, I don't have a personal garden. I don't have that space. But my good friend Temitoko even has it in her garden because she grows a lot of fruits and vegetables. And I wish I had the opportunity to even pick from her. But I just picked locally from my neighbors, and I was able to get that from my neighbors' backyard. And I picked it, I plucked it up, chopped it into slice. I sliced it up, and then that's what I used to prepare this. So I took the pictures before I mixed it into the sauce. I have the pictures of the sliced ugu leaf so that you can see how it is when it's fresh.
Amazing, thank you.
Nice.
So that's a great ingredient also to show how things are affordable or available because they are at your neighbor's garden. So I also really like the fact that you have this relationship with your community to actually go and pick from their garden.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Agarese, go enjoy your meal. I really don't want to, after this long day.
No, that's fine. I can wait for any questions or any clarification. People might want to learn about it. But it's actually very nutritious. The vegetable is very nutritious. And you don't cook it for too long. It's just like a stir fry. So it's fresh and crunchy. To get
So
all
it's
the
also
nutrients.
fast to prepare. Yeah.
Sorry? Yeah, it's very fast to prepare.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
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 So our other participant from Nigeria is Temitope, and I can already see the dinner or lunch table. Sorry, I keep saying dinner while it's still lunchtime. Lunch table and the guests. So Temitope, tell us, what did you cook and for who did you cook it? Temitope?
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So I have
Ooh, beautiful table.
Looks very nice. Yes.
Thank you. So I have yam porridge and yam and potato, actually. Yam and sweet potato porridge here. Yeah. And I have, thank you. I have agro-ecological. It's a local veggie in Nigeria, specifically for the Calabar people. And made from ugu, that's pumpkin leaves, and water leaf. Yes, water leaf is actually dormant in my compound. I grow a lot of vegetables, but I don't like water leaf. But because I have to cook agro-ecological, I have to add water leaf to the ugu leaf, that's pumpkin.
Okay.
And with that, I have, okay, so this is catfish pepper soup.
What is it? Sorry?
Catfish.
Oh.
Pepper
so
stew.
this fish was gotten from a nearby pond. I just got soup for the pepper soup. I have all the local ingredients, cloves, ginger, garlic, and water. Then I added scent leaves as well. I have scent leaves at home that I'm currently growing, so I just blended and dropped in the fish. Lastly, I have this is croaker fish. I don't get to see like croaker anyway. So it's frozen, and this is the only thing I got from the market. So garnished with carrots, spinach, tomato, and bell pepper. And my drink, I think I have to tell you about my drink as well. So this is very, this drink, we drank a lot of it during COVID last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's made from moringa and some honey with cucumber.
Wow.
Yum.
And then this is cold tea. That's the regular Lipton tea with some mint. I have a lot of mint at home. I grow them and I use them every day actually. So this is tea, lemon, and mint.
Amazing. So tell me, just one question, because I didn't understand. Where did you get the ingredients from? Because you mentioned one was from the market, but where was the rest of the ingredients from?
Okay, so I said my ingredients are from my house. I grow most of the veggies. Yes. The sweet potato as well was harvested in my compound. I grow sweet potatoes at home. And the only thing I had to buy was the fish, the croaker fish from the frozen store. And I got, so there's something they call pomo in Nigeria. It's cow skins.
Okay.
So it was added to my vegetable, the pumpkin vegetable. So I got that as well because I'm trying to cut down on my meat intake. So I decided not to buy meat, but I use a lot of fish and the pomo. Pomo is actually not very, will I say, zero carbs. Actually, it's the skin of the cow, so not plenty.
Things that normally would be discarded because people don't buy it, right?
Don't buy it.
Oh, people buy it in my country.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice.
Very nice. So ugu leaves is actually pumpkin leaves. Ugu leaves is pumpkin leaves. Remember the other lady had ugu leaves as her greens. Yeah. Very interesting. Very nice. Thank you so much. That looks really, really delicious, making me hungry.
Yes. I think it's soon time for us, Mogadi, as well, to grab a bite. So Temitope, thank you so much. Enjoy the delicious meals that are in front of you. And I hope you will have very nice conversations with your guests around what you have learned over the past 3 weeks and about the dishes in front of you. So enjoy and keep watching the other participants later today, what they are cooking all over the world. And now, before we close this session, I can see that in Pollica, everyone is around the table now. Sarah,
yes, Julia, here we are.
Show us the final results.
Here we are. Look at that. Ciao, ciao. So we are ready. And actually, we just prepared the lunch, celebrating the very old tradition. Those are Menaica anchovies. You remember when we were out in the night fishing? So Menaica anchovies are one of the most ancient way of fishing from the Greeks. It comes Menaica way of say fishing those very special fish that you can fish only from April to June. So this is really the last produce that we could grab just for this lunch to show to you. And then we are going to see what the guys have been preparing for you, and you're going to participate to our Saturday meal together, because in Cilento we love convivium and we love to share. That is one of the most important ingredients of Mediterranean diet. But then here we are, guys. What did you prepare?
Now we are going to mix the tomato and the bread.
And we will add also some basil and some olive oil from Cilento. It's all from Cilento, so it's a very sustainable recipe, and it's also no waste, as we told, because it helps us to reuse old bread.
That's great. And actually, this is really a way to celebrate all the different works and the heroes behind the food chain in this land. And we were mentioning you that the acqua sale really is inspired also to fishermen in some ways, because fishermen were bringing old bread in the boat with them, and they were soaking the bread in the sea, in the water, the salt water of the sea, mixing it with the incredible tomatoes you can find here in this place, in the heart of the Mediterranean, with basil, herbs, and tons of other ingredients that the guys were out foraging since this morning. So we're going to reconnect in the next hours again, and we're going to try to share with our global network which are the values behind the Mediterranean diet that are strictly connected to the sustainable development goals, because we're talking about finding a balance between humans and the planet. And here they are only eating seasonal products. They are growing their food in the garden, and they are really respectful with what is the ecosystem surrounding them. So what we're doing here with the guys from Trame Mediterranean and the Future Food Institute is really to learn which are the values behind all of that. And thank you for all our friends from the Chef Manifesto that are really the ambassador of this very important message, because we strongly believe that starting from food, we can change the world. We can do a huge impact on the health of people and the health of the planet. So thank you so much. And thank you so much to the chefs that are really heroes, that are the one not only in charge to feed the planet, but also to care about the planet. Thank you, Julia. And we are going to reconnect later.
Exactly. Thank you. Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you.
The
Thank
others.
you.
And I would like to thank Mogadi to be here with me.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, Julia, for having me. I've learned so much, and I'm so hungry after watching all those all those suppers and lunches. I'm hungry. So amazing to meet everyone and see the incredible work that your students are doing. It's really, really incredible. And I mean, yeah, I've learned a lot today.
Thank you, Mogadi, and I can't wait to have you on the next cohort.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Gian, Lauren, thank you for being here and supporting the smooth operation as well. So this was the end of our first session. Please stay tuned. We will dial in less than 2 hours with the next batch of participants covering another thematic area about plant-based ingredients and biodiversity.